Welcome to Syntax. Today, we have a very awesome guest for you. We have Francesco Ciulla here from Daily.dev to talk all about the platform Daily.dev, its history, community building, and more. This one's going to be really, really awesome. With me, as always, is Wes Boss. What's up, Wes?
Hey, stoked to talk about Daily.dev today. It seems like it's popping up quite a bit lately. And it's kind of interesting to see a platform that is not one of the major social media companies sort of taking hold. And
also with us is Sentry at Sentry.io. I believe they actually sponsor on Daily.dev, so you may see their logo while you're browsing Daily.dev. Sentry is the perfect place to track all of your errors, bugs, and all that and more, performance issues and stuff. So head on over to Sentry.io/syntax. Sign up and get 2 months for free. It's amazing. So, Francesco, welcome to Syntax. Do you want to give us a little brief introduction about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. Yes, I'm Francesco, developer advocate at Daily.dev. I've been very active on Twitter and YouTube. Sorry, now it's called X. And public speaker, Docker captain. I do many things. I would say I have also a small podcast. And yeah, I'm super honored to be here. And let's talk about Daily.dev for a while.
Yeah, awesome. So I guess first and foremost, do you want to give listeners a background into Daily.dev who might not be familiar with what the heck this thing is and how it came about?
I like it. What the heck is Daily.dev? Daily.dev is a platform. Daily.dev is a platform for developers by developers. That's why it's called Daily.dev. It's not a random platform for everyone. It's focused on developers. The core idea is to have a feed, a personalized feed to stay up to date. Now, the CEO would be upset if I give just this short explanation. Daily.dev is much, much more. We have new features, squads, communities, search, AI-powered features, but at its core, the core idea is to have something to stay up to date, because we know that it's hard to stay up to date as a developer. It's like a hard task, and I think everyone can agree with this. Even I agree with this. So that's the core idea.
Nice. Yeah, I think I first became of Daily.dev a little bit ago. It started popping up in our analytics here and there, or even people would mention it in our comments and things like that. And at that point, I checked it out, and I believe it was just an extension. Did it start out as a Chrome extension, or was it always a landing page?
Yes, so currently we have a Chrome extension, which is the big one, but we also support other browsers like Firefox. We launched an Android mobile app 2 months ago, and it's also available as a progressive web app also for iOS and for just the browser without the extension. So it's available in many different ways. What we really like is the Chrome extension, or the extension will give you like the full experience, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like, anyone listening has never visited it before. In the last, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, we've sort of seen like the death of the personal website, you know? Like, anyone making content right now is either posting it to YouTube or you're posting it to Twitter. The olden days of web dev used to be like, you had a blog, you wrote some really cool stuff, and if that was good content, it would get passed around. And certainly that is still the case. But we're seeing now, like, even with the Syntax website, it's hard to share your stuff. When you write good stuff on your own website, it's really hard to share that with other people. There's not Google killed off the RSS feed reader. Twitter will tank your posts if you put a link in them these days. Sorry, Scott, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say Reddit will hunt you down like a Frankenstein if you try to post anything of your own.
Reddit lets you post 1 in 10 of your own personal stuff, and it's just like,
if that, yeah.
I just wrote this cool thing. I want to share it with people. Like, let me post it somewhere. And it feels like Daily.dev is the space where we've gotten back to people sharing cool links and people sharing cool stuff. And it adds in all like the modern stuff, which is, it's hard to find good stuff. Maybe you do need an algorithm. There's a reason why everything is an algorithm. So, like, I don't know, is that a fair take on what this is?
Yes, so I'm old enough that I remember that days, and but I think that having a platform with many users, like maybe back then we were less on the internet, so like we could have like single pages and they would work very well.
Yeah.
I think they still work well for especially for someone if you do this very consistently since the beginning. To be honest,
Yeah.
now relying on a platform will give you a bit more visibility, especially I don't know if I will have to start like blogging tomorrow from zero. Creating your own blog, it's not impossible, but it will make your life harder. Instead, trying to use a platform, it's easier at the beginning. It has like less friction at the beginning. So this is, I think, the reason why they are winning. Like the new users, they will go on something that already exists, and then the more users will come, they'll just sign up. And also, I think that having a UI that you already know, it's more familiar. Like if you create your custom website, you can have a strong call to action. I agree, but Twitter is Twitter. LinkedIn, we know this. Daily.dev, we are trying to make this more to give the best experience. We have also incredible designers. No, I don't design Daily.dev. No worries, I will not touch that. I'm a DevOps guy. So I think that also this is one of the strong points, like giving a delightful experience.
Yeah, it definitely is a delightful experience. And I think that's one of the things that I latched onto at first because, you see people mentioning or whatever, you hop on and you see a giant wall of just really useful things. It's like you see all these useful conference talks or useful blog posts or this or that. Despite the fact that, people can end up posting their own stuff, it's not junk. You find up just really, really high quality things all the time on here. And I think the design lends itself to that. It does. What it reminds me of, like Wes said, it does remind me of the old web in that way, where it's not about numbers and points and whatever. It's about finding good stuff. And I think that's like really super successful. When did you join Daily.dev and do you have any like history on when it started and maybe like some of the growth trajectory from it?
Yeah, sure. So about the history of Daily.dev, I think it's fascinating. So I'll take 1 minute to just say that. So basically, there were 3 founders at the beginning: developer, CEO, and sort of designer. And basically, the developer, Ido Shaun, had this issue of staying up to date. So it was his real issue. And then one of the other founders, they were friends back then, he challenged him to say, okay, then build something. You're a developer. Just build. Stop complaining and do something. And then he went on a honeymoon. So it was some years ago. And then, this developer with the current CEO, they said, okay, let's surprise him. Let's do something like in a few days and let's show him like an MVP, and then let's show how cool it can be like to be a developer and build the things with your own hands. And long story short, when the other co-founder came back, they showed him the first version of Daily.dev, which of course is not how it looks now. You can just think about that. I can provide an old design if you want to show it. And they were surprised. And then they got some users. But what really made the first little explosion of Daily.dev is something that I think is very strange. One person from the UK put the Daily.dev on Product Hunt without even asking for permission to the CEO. So no, someone could be like absolutely upset of like being launched randomly by someone. But this is how Daily.dev got his first thousands of users. So they say, okay, maybe this is something, it's not just a side project, but this can become something that is useful. This is the prelude, I would say, of Daily.dev. And about when I joined in October 2021. And when I joined, I was the 6th person joining. So I was the third employee. And now we are about 30 after some time. And we raised a seed round of $11 million. So I don't know if you can call it still a startup, but yeah, I would say a very interesting journey, and I think also inspirational from my personal point of view.
Yeah, so that's wild that a developer landing page of essentially bookmarks that people are sharing could support so many jobs and get investment activity and all this stuff. I mean, it's endlessly useful, and like I find personally a ton of value in it. So that all tracks to me, but it is wild that you think like This kind of just showed up out of I don't want to say out of nowhere. You guys built it and took time, but it just showed up, and all of a sudden it's this useful tool. It's fully featured. You have all these users, and it's highly valuable. So that's like just really, really pretty fascinating to me overall. Did you get your first power user from that product hunt launch? Like the first person who was like gung-ho posting stuff on here left and right?
Yes, I can mention a specific person. His name is Ulla Martin. He's from Norway. So he was an absolute power user of Daily.dev. And the story keeps being inspiring because now he works with us. Like after a while, he joined the company. And he is one of the two people who joined Daily.dev by contributing to the open source project. So we don't have only one person who joined by contributing to the project, but two people. So this is not a coincidence. We really care about the contributions of the community. And yes, when someone tells me like, no, it's impossible to get a job, just contribute to open source, I can say, no, we have not one, but two people who are in our company that were actually power users and contributors to the community. So kudos to them, and huge shout out to Lee from Philippines and Ulla Martin from Norway. By the way, we are spread around the world. We have people from Australia, Italy. Me, by the way, I'm from Italy. Probably you noticed that by the accent. And yes.
Wow. And how many users do you have total now? Is that something you can share, or just generally?
I hope I can share this information because we got many people. I would say around to 500,000 users. So this is like, it's growing very, very well, especially in the past few months. We did like 20%. I can say exact numbers because we are waiting to reach real big numbers to go in brag mode. We are currently in silent and building mode, but soon you will hear from us how much we can brag. But yes, I hope that this is not some information that I can share, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine. But and something that I forgot to say, very important, like Daily.dev is a free product for everyone. This makes my life as a developer advocate super easy because I can just say, just go and check Daily.dev. But it's our approach, and for now, it's working very well.
And how does Daily.dev make money? I know there's venture capital behind it, and then there's ads. Is that the thing right now?
Thank you. This is a great question. So we even get people angry in the feedback, like, you are selling our data. This is how you get our money. This is like accusations. The truth is that we have investors, and we have also some ads on the platform. This is how we make this project sustainable. So this is the approach, and we want to go in that direction. And for now, it worked so far, we can say. So this is our business model, I would say.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting, the platform. Like, I'll tell you two things I'm surprised about. Is first, like, there's a lot more people on there than you think. Like, we started posting our syntax stuff too. Like, oh wow, like there's quite a few people on here. And it's always exciting to see that type of thing because you think like, oh yeah, all the developers are on Twitter all day long, and we used to be on Hacker News, but like now there's not really a whole bunch of stuff on Hacker News about programming. It's more just startups and just like tech adjacent stuff. But this is like actually coding related stuff on every single one. And the other thing I'm surprised about is there's not, maybe we're too early for this, but there's not like grifters. Like there's not any people on here who are trying to like game it. But there is an algorithm. Maybe that is my question next, is like, how does it decide what's so good to surface on the front page?
Yes, so about the details of the algorithm, I don't know exactly how it works, so I can't skip that part. Maybe to give a bit more context, we should say that Daily.dev has something called squads, which is probably one of the newest, biggest features. By the way, we'll have a real launch in September because we made a really soft launch for this squad. So probably you didn't know. And this is funny because we were advocating for squads like 1 year ago, 6 months ago, and now we are really doing other stuff. And now people are starting to create these squads that are sort of communities, specific communities. I love that feature. I use that feature as a user. I think this is a great plus if you are a developer advocate because I use it. And now if you also have it, you will probably see the benefits. I like that these sort of squads, they are very focused on a topic. And now maybe for syntax, the posts are similar to what you post on Twitter or LinkedIn. But for example, from a personal point of view, maybe I don't want to share everything I share on Twitter on the platform. For example, I have a specific squad about Rust. There I share just the Rust stuff. And then I have also my personal one. So it's great, like having the possibility to differentiate your content. I think this is a huge plus because usually social media, they are an absolute mess. And for example, there are other companies that are joining. And for example, I noticed something. The companies, maybe on Twitter, they make a mix of launches and then memes and then something else. When they are on Daily.dev, they are more specific, maybe less memes, and they are more like on point, I would say, because the audience you speak to can be very specific, people who joined that squad for a reason. So you don't have, as you said, you don't have to grift for impressions. You can go on the quality part, and I really like that. I hope that you like that too. I've seen that your squad is growing strong, and I hope that you are honestly enjoying it. I currently receive very good engagement and sometimes very good discussions. Also, big plus, you can reply in MD comments. I can actually make an MD comment, which is basically better than other many more platforms. And yes, that's it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of things you said, I mean, like Twitter for one, I don't know if it's the For You algorithm or whatever, but now it wants to show me so many unrelated things that I don't care about, things that I don't want to see, things that aren't helpful, or it's just people complaining, raging.
History stuff. Are you seeing that too, Scott? Like,
I know, I see a ton of politics.
It's almost like a Facebook where you're starting to see like videos that are like that's kind of interesting, but like that's not really what I'm here for. And I guess Twitter doesn't really care because they're keeping you there longer. But like, I'll just go to my For You page right now, and it'll often now it's a lot of coding right now.
I don't know. For even if it is coding, for me, it surfaces a lot of rage bait. It surfaces a lot of arguments. People complaining about things. And like, if I scroll down, I can't even see, maybe one out of every 20, 30 posts is something useful or helpful. But then like Daily.dev, you open it, my feed or whatever, there's like 10 useful things on the first page when you load it up. So like, to me, that's really the added benefit of like having a community that's all about like sharing helpful things versus potentially that I don't know, the types of drama that you get with other social platforms. And even like LinkedIn, there's a lot of like useful things being shared on LinkedIn, but it's mostly garbage. And this I found to be like very like highly curated, high quality resources. And by the way, our dev squad, our squad of syntax, which we'll have available in the link. And Wes, I did get the @syntax handle, not syntax FM. You'll be happy about
right
that.
On.
We've been growing. We got 1,000 people on there, and we don't just post every episode of Syntax. We're posting all kinds of stuff. From today, I shared an open source email platform, a blog on how to make SVG spinners, and it was a Cubase web framework. So fun stuff on there.
That's what's got to happen. Like, you hear people complaining about, oh, my stuff isn't getting any traction, and I post it to here. Where else can I post it? And people don't want just to have your feed to be shoving your stuff down their throat. People want to see stuff that is actually interesting to you and that is actually exciting. I'm glad that we're doing that, or you're doing that, because otherwise it just becomes like another funnel for like auto posting crap for more people to see. And maybe, Francesco, that's the question, is like, what type of stuff do you see doing really well on it? Like, what type of stuff do people actually enjoy? Do you have anything that stands out there?
Yes, sure. So squads, I think that lately, in the past few weeks, they became the number one feature. Like many friends, like included you, they are really enjoying this. I think that many people, they really like customizing their feed, which is basically the main feature. Now we're talking about squads because we open squad, but basically when you join Daily.dev, you can decide what you want to see. And this, for example, on other platforms, you don't have control. And on Twitter, I can try, block, and mute something. On Daily.dev, you can decide, I want to follow Rust tags. I want to follow podcast tag. So that's something.
Let me interrupt you there, though. Like, yeah, we get that you can customize it, then that's cool. But I'm more thinking like someone's listening to this right now and they want to start making content. You have very large YouTube channel, very large Twitter. You make content, right? What do you think is doing well right now? What type of content are people hungry to see? Because you can look on Daily.dev and say, that's doing well.
So you mean like in type of content?
Yeah. Like what type of content are you seeing any themes or any? Back in the day, it used to be Roundup, 10 jQuery plugins to help you do the next
Roundups,
website.
Yes. Yeah. I wrote a Roundup myself before.
Yes, you're showing your age, as was said, me too, so I understand. And so I think that everything related to AI, LLM, that it has been hammering for 2 years now, so everything that is related to that usually performs well. There is also an AI squad curated by cool people, cool AI moderators. I'll be a bit selfish here. Now I became a huge fan of Rust, so I have also my own squad, and I found this topic to go very well. I think that like articles that are, for example, from big sources, like for example for FreeCodeCamp, like articles that are already important and from important sources, they usually go well. Yeah, something controversial sometimes I see. Sometimes, like, when you have a strong opinion, people will jump on it no matter what. But still better than Twitter. That's from my opinion. So I saw some discussions about, I don't know, you should stop using X. And of course, you will get something there. But usually the level of comments, maybe you get some long criticizing comments. And I like that, for example, you can search for best discussion. So you can, for example, you can decide to actually check the post that has the most upvotes. Yes, you can upvote, downvote post. And this is great. For example, I want sometimes, I don't know, I want to go to the platform and engage in something. I want to get to see if I can be part of this community. You can actually see the posts that already have some engagement, and then you can basically find the reason why, and then you can collaborate. So this is like, I think, the things that work the most in terms of topic. If you want, I can talk more about also the features.
And what about Medium as well? Because I went to explore in the past year by upvotes, and the top 10 were all blog posts, and I had to get to the 11th before you hit video, which is not what I would have expected. I would have thought video does the best. So it's great to see written text doing so well on a platform like this.
We relatively recently introduced YouTube videos on Daily.dev, so this might also be the reason. But to be honest, I like it. Even if, as I said, I have a YouTube channel, so it's something that I've been waiting for long, trust me. We made a special agreement with YouTube to use their API intensively, so it's not even something easy to reproduce.
Okay.
It was a great win on our side. But yes, still the blogs are going very strong and very well because the whole platform was based on this. So I don't know, maybe this is one of the reasons why there is this calm environment. I know, I like it. I feel at home when I'm there. Yeah.
What YouTube APIs are you using that? Is it the transcripts? I see that there's a lot of them have TLDR, which I assume are like a AI generated summary. Is that what API you're using with YouTube?
I don't know exactly which APIs, but for sure that's not, or maybe it can be just for YouTube because we have the TLDR also on articles. So probably there might be some logic which is different, of course, from videos and articles. The TLDR is, to be honest, a very nice feature. I think it's kind of on point. Sometimes, of course, it gets hallucinated, but it's usually you get a nice recap. Something that I think should be everywhere, almost everywhere. It can really help. Like, for example, it's like to understand if you really want to give some time to that post or that video. So, yes, the TLDR is a feature that we're really proud of.
What is this built in, by the way? I think that might be something our audience is interested in.
Yes, sure. So we use React on the front end. Sometimes we change the framework, but I think currently is React, is deployed on Vercel. We use Google Cloud Platform, Terraform, Pulumi, and the backend is done mostly in Node.js and some part in Go. As a framework for the backend in Node.js, we use Fastify, which has by the way has been done by one of my Italian friends, Matteo Collina. So yes, if you know it, it's super cool.
Love Matteo.
Framework. This is mostly
Yeah,
there, and I
rules.
think Postgres as a database. I hope I nailed all of them.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. It's always interesting to see what types of stacks people are picking in the real world on real products that are, in this case, being used by 500,000 people. So, yeah, this is pretty great. Fastify is one of those technologies that I would pick almost every time for server-side frameworks for Node. It's just really excellent. I'm curious about like a couple things. What do you think like the most important aspects of building such a good community? Like, why was Daily.dev able to have such a positive community, I think
the secret is in curating what you do. So like we absolutely care about that the sources are not, let's say, random or spammy. We have, for example, you can block sources, you can report sources. And I think this is one of the few applications I ever saw in my life. You can check it on the bottom left. There is a feedback button. You can click on the feedback and you can send basically a message directly on our Slack channel. So basically you have an embedded feedback. Sometimes it's even positive. We really care about the feedback of the users. I am in charge of checking them. And this is very, very useful to understand the direction you want to go. And I think, and also, the design part, how it looks like, maybe someone will not agree with this, but in the end, like having a good experience when you are on a platform, I think it can make more than you might think. I think we recently changed the website, Daily.dev, and then we got like a conversion, which was like 20% more, just because it was, just restyled. So it's it's something. So that's, I think, are the most important things. Yeah.
Sorry, explain that more. You got a 20% lift in traffic from what? Being able to access it from the web?
Yeah, so we have a landing page, Daily.dev.
Yeah.
It's been restyled, I think, months ago or some years ago. And then when they made their restyle, they could check that the conversion like increased dramatically. So let's say this has also helped a lot. Kudos to the design team and the stuff. Yeah.
Is that because I'm taking a guess here, but the landing page is very aggressive on, in order to use this, you must install the Chrome extension, which is, it's not the case. You can just use the website, but it's very much like use the Chrome extension. And that's nice because every time you open up a new tab, your new landing page is just good information instead of like the Olympics or like some awful stuff that's going on in the world. Do you know why that happened? Is that why?
Do you mean why for what? For the conversion?
The 20% conversion, you said it was like a new design. Do you think that's related to the aggressive pushing towards the Chrome extension, which then makes you have it every time you open a new tab?
We always made like the Chrome extension like the king, because as I said, with the extension you get the most out of Daily.dev in terms of features. And yes, I think it was a mix of like, proper call to action, proper design. For example, we added some badges. For example, we won a prize on Product Hunt, a Golden Kitty Award, the number of users that are currently using the app. We also have very good rating on Chrome Store, so we bragged a bit. I think this helped a lot, conversion and also a bit of redesign. Yes,
it's an awesome landing page. Like, developers often like poo-poo marketing. You can't do that. Like, if you want to have something successful, especially as a lot of developers build stuff like this, you need to be able to know how to make this stuff work. It's not enough to have a nice website and hope people like it and use it. You have to be a little bit aggressive with your tactics to make it work. And everything Daily.dev has done so far, like, this is maybe a compliment to everybody working on it. Like, it doesn't feel icky, but you can tell that they're trying their hardest to get you to use it as much as you possibly can.
I think one of the reasons it doesn't feel icky because it's a free product and it doesn't feel like they're doing anything other than putting ads in front of you. And like that to me is like, I don't know when we decided that wasn't a viable business model, but at some point people were like, oh, everything either needs to be a subscription. We can't just have our site be supported by ads, which I think that's pretty refreshing to see, because it's not like the ads are invasive and they're not like popping over your screen or anything like that.
They're not blocked by uBlock by default, which I think probably has something to do with being Tailwind classes on it. But I'm not going to block it because they're very nice, and they're also related to me.
They're related, like Sentry. You might find Sentry there, and you might say, hey, that looks like a really neat service. Let me click on that. I'm curious about one of these, both technical but also like organizational things with platforms like this. You get 500,000 users. People are submitting links left and right. People are upvoting. And I know you mentioned that you can report and downvote and stuff like that, but how the heck do you handle moderation at this large of a scale?
Most of the work, I think, is still manual for some reasons. Of course, they have some tools that can help. We rely on like people like reporting and to this. And something interesting is that we have these trusted sources. So you can create a squad and post some links. You can, for example, submit your own articles. There is a feature called the community picks when you can submit someone else's article. But for example, you can submit your random article. So in that case, gets blocked. And yes, so I think that's it for now. I don't know how much in details it's sort of automated for some, obvious spam and obvious things that should absolutely not be there. I think we are in a phase where it's like, half manual, probably 70% manual still. And we try to keep it as clean as possible. And probably in the future, we will need to improve this. We know that this is it's very important. And for example, for squads, I think we did a good job because, if you open a squad, this community, of course, the person who create the communities, and they can also have moderators, other admins. So we also made all the features. We rely, of course, in that point. But in that case, it's obvious because you will be the person in charge of having this community. You can decide that you will be the only one posting, and then we solve most of the issues. In case you want to let everyone posting, of course, usually the admins will have probably some help and some stuff. But yes, for now, I think that it's going well. We'll probably have more problems in the future, but they are problems that we will address for sure.
How are the tags done on Daily.dev? Because I noticed when you create a post, it doesn't ask you what the tags are, but then they are categorized into tags. Is that done with AI?
Okay, so tags were there before AI was cool. So probably there was something like handmade, and probably we are still using that. I'm not sure if we are using AI to generate these tags, but yes, tags, they are generated automatically. You don't choose the tags. It's a choice. For now, we are happy with this. I don't know if in the future we'll support it. You decide which tags, but for now, this is how the tags are done. But the tags have been there for a while.
It's a tricky thing because unless you're at like an event, the hashtag is kind of dead on Instagram, Twitter, because people figure out you can just spam a bunch of hashtags or tags in an area and then show up in all of them. So why wouldn't you want to apply tags to absolutely every single one? Even for syntax, we've thought about this a lot. Is how do you categorize these things both automatically so that it's all picked up, but then how do you relate them to each other? We were talking about using, what is it, the cosine distance between the two. It's just being able to categorize content without manually doing it is a very tricky problem. So it seems like you've done a great job there.
Thank you. We're trying our best, and yes, I think that having these tags is great because then you can, for example, you can decide to, I don't want to have anything to do, with Python, for some strange reasons, and so it's basically blocking all the articles that are related to that. So especially you can decide to follow some of them, or to block the tags, or even block sources, or even block authors. So you can really decide to filter things out. And I can say it works. You can change it whenever you want. It's more like the style of, I think it's 100 times more customizable than Twitter. Then they decide for you, you follow, and that's it. And you're done. And then you need to
Yeah.
follow the specific people, hoping that Elon Musk doesn't decide that now you need to watch some meme. so in that case, it's more customizable. Yeah.
Here's a question that's even for you personally, Francesco. Like, you make a lot of content, like Wes mentioned earlier. Where is your favorite place to publish today? And I don't necessarily mean to share what you publish, but to publish in general. Like, as a content creator, what do you think is popping off right now?
I'm currently focused on YouTube, so I'll not hide this. So I'm very focused on the video creation. I published a video today, Shameless plug. And so that's, I think, a nice platform for me to share everything I want to share. I have also different formats there. And then when for example, like when I publish, for example, a YouTube video, I mean, this today, usually the first thing I do is that I share it also on Daily.dev and that's good. So that's the second step. And then on another social media. This is true. It's not it's not just a from. So YouTube, I think, is a great platform. If you dedicate some time to that. Tomorrow it will be my 4th anniversary on YouTube. So actually 4 years ago I had 0 videos published. Now I think I have more than 500 published, but I removed like at least 300 videos. So I've been kind of active in these 4 years. And yes, tomorrow is the anniversary.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you, Francesco. Daily.dev is the first place I post to as well now since we started our squad. Just because we do get a lot of good traffic from there, a lot of good engagement. And yeah, it's just it's a great place to post that kind of stuff, because I'm not going to post it and then cower when a moderator somewhere is going to be like removed for spam or something. You know, it's like we're making useful stuff. We want to share it. But yeah, no, your YouTube channel is great. And if those of you out there who haven't seen Francesco's channel, there's a ton of great stuff on here. And if you're interested in Rust, there's a really pretty amazing crash course playlist on there of Rust content in general. So if you're interested in that, check out Francesco's YouTube. We'll have it linked up as well.
Let's keep talking about the Rust stuff. I'm curious. Why do you like Rust? Why have you just sort of doubled down on that?
Yeah, let's say triple down or quadruple down, because now I'm also writing a book, Super Shameless Plug. It will be out in 2025.
Wow.
Different reasons. First of all, I need to keep my coding skills sharp, because at Daily.dev I am a full-time DevRel, developer advocate. I don't code much because, as I said, we are 30 people, but they have great engineers, but I am the only one, like, I don't know, creating videos or having to do with social media. So I do let's say I'm a full DevRel there. I don't code much at Daily.dev, maybe 5% of my time. So I needed to code something, okay?
Yeah.
And also because there is not much Rust content yet, because now if I go JavaScript, there is a huge competition, people who were like like demigods of JavaScript, and either with Python. So I'm confident with JavaScript and Python, of course, even Go. But from a content creator perspective, there is a bit less competition. If you try to type, I don't know, Rust data types, probably mine is the first or second video on Google and on many topics. This is helping really a lot. And I like the use cases, because you might think that Rust is just for system programming, because this is how it was born, I would say. But for example, I like that you can use it for web development, to create a backend. And so it's not that we need to use Rust as a backend, but it's useful to learn it, because learning something, I don't know, just doing CLIs, or I don't know, building something which is more system programming, maybe it's less mainstream. If I'll tell you, like, let's do a web server in Rust, and then there are also different frameworks, it's a bit for more familiar. So that's one of the main reasons. And I like that there are some unique features. If you want, I can go into details, but like there are something that either you use Rust or you don't have them. Like the ways it handles the memory, I think it's great. And I think that some languages in the future will be inspired by how Rust handles memory. So we will see more Rustish memory management programming languages probably in 5 or 10 years, because I think it's the way to go, pun word intended.
It's hard to get used to when you're coming from JavaScript, but it definitely makes you think a lot more about what you're doing, which is something that you can get into with JavaScript. You're just slapping code down and not really putting in the thought that you need to. What's your favorite web framework in Rust?
Yeah, there are many. For now, I use Actix, which is similar to Express, so it's familiar from the syntax point of view. There are more, but to be honest, Scott, I don't want to do the same mistake I did with JavaScript to explore 5 frameworks at the same time. So I learned by my mistakes. Now I focus on one framework. I do some tutorials that are still basic. I'll say I'm going talking about like error handling and generics. So I'm going into a bit more advanced stuff because I also want the ecosystem to become more mature because I know that once I jump into frameworks, I will never get out alive from them. So I used some of them, but I want to go slow on that part. So you can try, I think Attix and Rocket is another framework. And then there are also frameworks for front end that I'm still just exploring. One I think is called Leptos. There are more. So the frameworks will never be a problem for any language. The problem is like understanding the syntax of the language, and then you decide which is the framework. It's like Django and Flask, like they both are good for Python, but you can use them in different ways. So for now, I'm happy with this framework. I also made a presentation showcasing this framework some weeks ago, and it's cool.
Wow. Yeah, that is a good lesson for, I think, any language at this point, right? The frameworks, they're subtly different, but the core concepts and the foundational learning is always going to be here. So yeah, awesome.
All right, let's move into some shameless plug and sick picks. What do you got for sick pick for us today?
So I think it's easy in this case. So thank you so much for inviting me. I really just ask you to just check Daily.dev. So this is the shameless plug I decided to pick here because I think it's at least worth checking. And then you will see if you want to join the syntax squad, play around, see what can be useful for you. That's all I ask from life. This is what I ask.
That's awesome. Shameless plug. Everybody check out Daily.dev. It's the best. A sick pick is something that you like, you want to share, that's just maybe something that you're just having fun with or enjoying right now. Could be a podcast, YouTube channel, seasoning, socks, whatever you want. Just anything that you're liking right now.
Yes, sure. So if you force me to do a second shameless plug,
yes.
I'm currently building full free Rust crash course. So week by week. I started in January 2024 and I'm sharing one video per week. Today I published the 30th video. So this is building up also by not like rushing, but I'm building this, say from the very foundations. And now I'm going into more advanced concepts. They are edited, of course, and they are, I think they are on point on a single specific topic. So that's, I think it's something that people might found useful. I don't know if I have one extra slot, otherwise I'll shut up.
Oh, no, it's all great. Yeah.
I think there's been a misunderstanding. So a sick pick is, we have two things. We have shameless plug, which you've done,
okay.
But we also have a sick pick, which is something you picked that you really enjoy. So maybe I'll just ask you, what's the best Italian food? I went to Italy last year and enjoyed.
I went to Italy last month.
Oh yeah, Scott did. So you tell us, as an Italian, what's the best Italian food that somebody should be trying?
Well, let me crack my knuckles. But since I am I am from Rome, you are not allowed to go away from Rome if you didn't try the carbonara, which I think I'll do also tomorrow. So follow me if you want to have some carbonara pics. And that's I think it's the best food in terms of like how taste it is, but also in terms of calories. Like it has the best ratio because it's basically just pasta, a couple of eggs, and some meat, but it tastes super well. And of course, pecorino. So it's I think the best framework in terms of pasta and first meal.
Pasta framework. I love it.
I like that. I actually didn't. I'm not a big pasta fan, which was very offensive to people when I went to Italy. But I'll have to try it. It seems so good.
Wow, that's weird to hear that you're not a pasta fan.
If you said this at the beginning, I would have left the podcast.
Yeah.
Now it's too late. Now it's too late. So I'm done.
Yeah, we could have done it with just Francesco and I, because I love pasta fan. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Francesco. This has been incredible. You know, it's been a joy to see the evolution of Daily Dev. When I first started using it, there was obviously no squads or anything like that, and the squads became public. And now we have our own squad. So it's a really awesome platform, and stoked with all the work you all are doing over there, Daily Dev. So keep it up, and keep making the web what it used to be in that regard. So that's all we have for you today, and we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Ciao.